Our speaker, Dan Corbin, in addition to being an LPJC alumnus, is a proven product management and tech leader, passionate about helping companies improve their strategy and their operations. He has extensive experience as a product management instructor, mentor, and coach. Over his multi-decade career, Dan has led a wide variety of product teams across various industries. He is also dedicated to helping people achieve their career goals and assisting those making a career transition. Please welcome him for his presentation, From Overwhelmed to AI-Powered 30 Days to Career Confidence. I can't wait to hear this.
Each of our courses is phenomenal. We do certification in product management, product marketing, things like that. Okay, so one thing I want to mention, the SWAT team. So one of the things that I did almost 7 years ago is I started a thing called the Product Job Club, based on the Launchpad Job Club. And over the past 6.5, almost 7 years, we have helped over 100 product people get jobs. So if you are in that space and you are looking, so like I need help, I want to like work together with other product people and use all of our tips and tricks, I can help you with that. Contact me. You can join our group. We meet every other Monday. We will help you prevent all of the mistakes that you might make on your own. Plus, we have a huge network of people who have gotten jobs through our job club who are now paying it forward. Yes? Do you have to be a developer? No, if you are in a product or product adjacent role, product manager, product marketing, product analyst, designer, data, anything like that, you know. That works, yeah. And so what we do is we're able to help people understand like what is the right fit, and we have a really good sense of what's happening in the market. So we had usually we'll have 5 to 10 people on a call, each that are active members, and 75% of the people are job seekers. The other 25 people are alumni there just to help. I would say of our 9 active people last month, 3 of them landed jobs. Most people are actively interviewing, so they're getting a lot of traction using a lot of our methods, and we have lots of shortcuts. We have a library of resumes to look at. So if you combine what you're learning here plus with some of the industry, job-specific things that we can help you there, I think it'll help you get traction if you happen to be in that space. I'm never going to make it through this whole thing. I have so much to say. All right, welcome to this presentation, From Overwhelmed to AI Powered. So the whole presentation, when I was thinking about what can I talk about, I really want everyone to feel confident utilizing AI to up their productivity, their creativity, their strategic thinking, their effectiveness, and their efficiency in whatever field you're in. Because the reality is, AI is going to be a part of every industry. That's just the reality of it. So I work at Pragmatic. We do product marketing and product management training. Here's the overview of what we're going to be covering today. I'm just going to talk about what is happening in the workplace when it comes to AI, how it impacts you, and how you can take advantage of it. That's the key. Don't become a victim of AI. Use it as an advantage. So some of the stats that came out of one of my favorite annual studies, which is the Microsoft Work Index study that comes out each April. Last year, some of the stats that I thought was most telling. And the reason I love this study is because it's very prescient. It shows that it's the head of the curve. It shows where things are heading. And it said that 71% of the managers would rather hire somebody with strong AI skills with less experience. So they're bypassing people with more experience and said, you know what, give me the person with better AI skills, even though that this person may have a lot more experience in this field.
Is this limited to tech, or does it have all fields?
Great question. This particular study is focused primarily on tech professionals. So they in 2024, it was with 31,000 tech professionals. This year it was with 33. So this is primarily in tech. So that's a great qualifier I should add. Additionally, in tech, if you happen to be in that space, this is last year. It's almost 70% wouldn't hire someone if they didn't have tech or AI skills. I would say that that's probably significantly higher now. The other thing is, sometimes people were saying like, well, they're afraid to show that they're using AI at work because it will make them feel replaceable. And that's the exact opposite thing that you need to be doing. You need to show and demonstrate how great you are at AI, because that's what gives you the advantage. So let's kind of talk a little bit about that. Oh, before I do, this is why I need the talk track, people. This is why, because I would have skipped over this. So one thing, and you could probably relate to this looking back throughout your career, so many people are suffering from burnout and struggle. But so they talked and they surveyed what they referred to as power users of AI. People are using it on a daily basis. And over 90%, so 90% of power users, 91% of power users of AI said they felt more motivation and more enjoyment at work because of AI. And 93% said that they were able to work on their most important work because of AI. So think about that. Who wants to be at a job where you are more motivated, you enjoy your job more, and you're able to focus on the most important things? Well, you could do that with AI. So this is just more reasons why you want to learn as much as you can about it. Now another, yes?
Can you clarify exactly what AI skills, because obviously there's a lot of product in the market, and is it a compilation of, for example, using ChatGPT,
Yep. So we'll put a pin in that, come back, because I'm going to go through different tools and kind of give you an example of some of them. And we'll dive deeper into that later. But you're exactly right. It's a range of them. And I'll tell you some of the ones that you can start off using. And the whole purpose of this study is I'm going to give you a playbook, a checklist of 30 days of specific AI tasks that you're going to do. With there's going to be 4 weeks of themes, okay? And and I'll show you what each theme is going to have a different week. The first one is going to be like kind of relieving your cognitive mental load, and one is going to be improving your communications using AI. A next theme is going to be on improving your creativity and strategic thinking. One is going to be improving planning and project management using AI. Another, we're going to round out the month learning how to build AI agents. You're going to do that every single day. In fact, you're going to form your own SWAT groups, and you're going to work on this together. And then the end result is you're going to have a portfolio showing, like, oh yeah, look at all the stuff that I've been doing just playing around with AI. And you're going to have used all of these different tools. So you're going to show that over the next 30 days, I've used that. Oh yeah, I did this. And I have all of these great examples. So if anyone asks you how comfortable are you using AI, you're going to have an entire book of examples of how you've used AI in just a wide range of scenarios. And if you don't do that, so help me God, because I put a lot of time into that. Yes. I mean, you can do it whenever you want. I'm just going to give you the spreadsheet, and you're all adults, and you can just work on it whenever you want.
Monday. It starts Monday.
Yeah.
The test is Monday.
No, it's really that. I'm just going to give it to you. You're going to go. You're going to make a copy of it, and then you're going to use it. So this next study is something that came out in April, and it was a study from Harvard Business School, and it was a study that was done with almost 800 professionals from. They worked with Procter & Gamble, and what they were trying to do was to show the effectiveness of AI as a teammate. And the results were really startling. And it's something that mirrored what I not only saw as my own personal experience, but working with a lot of product managers, not only at Pragmatic, but with a lot of the mentoring and advising that I do. So some of the findings that they found was that when teams were working, as you would expect, so what they were doing is they took two people and they paired them together, said, all right, you're going to work on a team on these projects. And those teams of people did better than people who were working as individuals. I think we could probably all have guessed that that would, hypothesis would have come true. But what they found was when they gave individuals and said, all right, you're going to be using ChatGPT 4.0, they worked and they got as much done as those people who are working as a team. And the whole premise of the study was, well, the hypothesis was, could AI be as an effective teammate as working with other individuals? And they found that it was very much within the same range. So what I teach in my classes at Pragmatic is how to use AI as a collaborative thought partner, how to use it to look at problems from different perspectives, to engage in lateral thinking, to use it as, devil's advocate, to help you not just to reduce your critical thinking. If you're using AI to copy and paste, you're toast. You're done in this age of AI. If you're using it to improve your critical thinking, to engage and really be able to expand your critical thinking and to think more strategically, then you're doing it properly. And that's really what they found in these studies. So one person can now accomplish what two people collaborating together could do. So you're seeing the importance of AI, and what you may feel like, oh, well, great, this is, if I'm looking for work, they're not going to hire me because now they can just assign AI to everyone and backfill those positions. And you know what? There is some truth to that. But that's not the total truth. Now, the reality is companies are, in the past, if they needed to have people to come in, solve problems, to address issues, to overcome challenges, they needed human capital. They needed human labor. They needed that brain power of people. But now they can use AI for that. So you can see here, for decades, intelligence was one of the most valuable and limited assets in business, bound by human time, energy, and cost. But now we're not in that situation because AI can start filling that. So it might make you feel like, all right, great, AI is just going to come in, swoop up, hoover up all these jobs, and I'm going to be on the outside looking in. How many people kind of feel like that's their case? And I don't blame you for feeling like that. But let me give you a different perspective. Let me give you a different way of looking at this. So here's what the reality is that's happening in the market today. And this is happening across all different types of companies in all different industries. The reality is companies, like individuals at companies, they don't have the energy and capacity to do the work that they're being expected to do right now. 80% of people in this poll say like they're overworked. They're stressed out. They're at their peak capacity. They can't do more than they can't even keep up with what they're being asked to do. But at the same time, leaders are saying, hey, we have to do even more. Those things are at odds with each other. Yeah, right. It's true. True. Yeah, it's always been the case. So how are they going to fill that gap? Yes, Jane.
I want to ask you if anybody I do.
Okay.
What age?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to kind of dive into that, but let me kind of give I appreciate you saying that. So what agents are is essentially when you take AI and you say, all right, here is what we want you to do, and you are going to go off and act independently to do that work. There will be some trigger. You will go and do all of the work independently, and I will have no action whatsoever. Like me as a human won't have anything to do with it. So work that you would have done personally is now handled entirely by AI. And it could be done entirely by them, but you will be the one that will design how the agent works. And then you will oversee, all right, did that work or not? And we're actually going to run through a couple examples of agents just to kind of show you. Now, if you think about, we've all interacted with chatbots. That's AI. But but that's where it needs to, you're going back and forth. but it has to be, it has to be ask something, and you know what, you have to be there and kind of trigger it and do something. Agents are just off working, and what's going to happen, and what the point of this study in 2025 is, so this is coming from the 2025 version of the Work Index study. What it's showing is that everyone in the workforce now is going to become agent bosses. So you are going to decide, where does it make sense for me to delegate certain workflows to AI so that I can free myself up to focus on the most important work, so that I don't feel overwhelmed, so that I can work on the most important things. And this is where the opportunity lies for you. If you can get ahead of the curve, because this is still very much ahead of the curve, if you can adopt the mindset of, all right, where can I, in my field, in my job, start to realize where, you know what, I don't need to manually do that anymore. I can be able to have AI go and do that work for me so that I can then do the high value work of this and utilize all of my incredible career experience in a way that others can't. That's what gives you your experience. And that's what's going to give you an edge. So, in this new economy, if you really want to stand out, and I know a lot of people roll their eyes at this, and I do too, but if you look at where the jobs are, you're basically going for the same jobs, but just put AI in front of it. So I have people that like in product operations, and I'm like, you don't want to be going for product operations jobs. You want to go for AI product operations. Show them how you're going to like automate and improve these things and do it better. Yes?
What if I don't trust the agent to bring back accurate information? So now I just have to go back and do that job myself because it didn't do it right.
Well, so this is where you have to go and you train it and you improve it. But this is where you have to have the ability to work with the AI. So it's such a great point. It's a really good point. You're going to, alone it can't do it, but you with it will help it. You'll help it get better. Now, it may not be bringing back good information because the underlying data is bad. Maybe the design of the agent or the prompt was bad. But if you can work with it and get it the right data, then it'll work well. Yes?
How effective are they at scanning websites? My dad's done some experimenting, and he found he scanned websites. It had the accurate information on the website, but it still the AI pulled the wrong name.
Yep. So I want to be clear, like I am not up here like some AI super optimist. AI, like my favorite book is AI Snake Oil, because it talks about like all the things, like people will promise AI is going to be able to do all of these things. It's still early. There's things that it still does, and this is where I would swear, but I won't because I'm on camera. It still does things very poorly, but where we're going, there's no denying the trend of where things are going. These things are improving and getting better so fast. It's not like, oh, the entire like industries, everything's gonna be like, you know what? Whew, turns out that AI thing didn't work out after all. They're only getting better. So you're right. I mean, there's things that they don't do well. But I've already seen in the 2 years that I've been teaching AI where it would just do horrible hallucinations. And I would teach, half of my class is teaching students how to use AI properly because it does so many things poorly. I've had to like pare that down. Most of the time, so it is getting better. But I will tell you that there's so many things that if you don't know how to use it well, these are very powerful tools, but in the wrong hands, in the hands of inexperienced people, you can end up with terrible decisions. So I work in product management. If you have a product manager who isn't experienced and they feed things into AI, ChatGPT is very effusive, very sycophantic. So it'll be like, oh my gosh, that is a brilliant idea. Whereas any smart product manager will be like, that's incredibly stupid. Have you thought about this and this and this and this and this? There was one recently, they had to roll back a version of ChatGPT because somebody put in a prompt, me think real good, and they just put something like a caveman would speak and asked like, how smart am I compared to other people who prompt? And he says, I think that you're in the top 90 to 95% of people when it comes to intellectual power and strategic thinking. So yeah, these tools can really take you off but if you're trained, you know how to use them to really great impact. Yes.
So Dan, let's take a step back first of all. First of all, remember all this business automation that is going to save us all this time and all this business process optimization, and we're going to do 250% more work in the same amount of time. Remember? So yeah, we have the same spreadsheet, we have the same process. We are expected to do more work in less time because the tools take care of all the junk. Excel, I'm not doing any calculations by hand, not anymore. So 20 years ago to 10 years ago to now, all this business automation is where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
AI, let's define our terms. It's this piece of business automation. There is no such thing as artificial intelligence. There is a few natural intelligence, that's a different editorial aside. There is such a thing as artificial stupidity. It is an algorithm trained on a set of data and pattern matching large language models. It is looking and searching for the next pattern to match.
Okay, so I'm gonna cut you off there because we're getting into this whole like deep dive because okay, but I see where you're going. Okay, yes. But I'm gonna focus back because what I'm trying to do with this is position you to be in a better job. Yes. So we're getting into like semantics and deep dive and all that because we can get in and we can nitpick how this compares in the past.
Artificial intelligence. There's no such thing. Call it artificial stupidity.
Okay, I'm not going to get into that. So there's other challenges, and I agree. Like there's always new technologies that are going to come out, and regardless of this, it isn't going to like okay, great, now we've solved the productivity problem. Now no longer people are going to be overwhelmed at work. They're just going to be asking more of us. But if you want to go from here to working in a job, this is how you can position yourself to get into that. So again, there's just more statistics from this. But here is the quote from the work index study that I want you to remember for this year. It's a mindset shift. You have to think of AI as your new teammate. You have to think of it not as a tool, but as a new kind of team member. Know how, and just like you work with any team member, to your point, any team member is going to have strengths and weaknesses. So the more you understand about the strengths and weaknesses of that team member, the better you're going to be to move ahead. That's the one thing. So like for me, like I know I'm well positioned in the future because I know exactly, I'm already getting calls for, hey, would you be interested in doing this and this and this? So you always have to think like 2 steps ahead strategically of where you want to be in your career. So this is kind of where the work study feels like things are going. Now again, this is the future. No one can predict the future. This is where they believe things are going. The reason that I have faith in this and I buy into this is because this annual study has been proven to be prescient year after year, and I've already seen this not only because I work with, we've worked with over 10,000 companies, we've trained over 250,000 people. I literally train companies all over the world. I go to Europe, I train companies. I've already seen this taking place. I've worked with some of the largest tech, healthcare tech, fintech companies. This is what they're already doing. But what's happening is what you don't want is in the middle, is where you just get, we're going to do an agent here, an agent there, an agent there. You want to really think about, all right, where does it make sense for the type of work that I do to build out workflows that AI can take over so that I can really use all of my great experience to help the in a more impactful way. So you don't want to go to a job and say like, oh, I'm really great at doing that low level, low impact stuff. You want to be able to say, look at how we can go and take care of all of that. That'll help me focus on this important stuff. And that's what will really appeal to people who are hiring. So again, AI, it's not a tool. I know it may seem like a tool, but it's going to end up being your teammate. Yes?
Back on that previous slide, what that tells me is that with AI, there is increasing isolation and compartmentalization and much, much less actual human interaction among the people in the positions who can interact with each other and assist each other, whereas now it's all siloed and separate and disconnected. So there's less human connection.
I think it's the exact opposite. And I'll tell you why. Because let me go back here. So right now, the average employee is spending so much time in meetings, chats, like they're so much time on firefighting and all of this heads down stuff that they're distracted, that their attention is splintered. And they can't really come up to have those more substantive conversations, to do more of that deep, high quality work, because they're getting like splintered and having all of this stuff, because it's that low level tactical stuff. Whereas if you wipe all of that off their plate and have AI do that, then they can sit down and say like, all right, let's look at this from a bigger picture. Let's all get around the conference room and work on this bigger stuff. So I know it may seem, looking at this photo, it may seem like, oh, we're building silos, but I will tell you, so the exact words that I used in working with our sales team yesterday, I was like, look at how we do this, and we were working through workflows. I was like, if we do this, and if you in marketing built this workflow together, do you see, I literally used the word, how this tears down the silos so you guys can work together. It actually does the opposite. So teams actually, because if you free up that space where you're kind of just doing all that firefighting and all that stuff that you're like, I'm kind of juggling 5 things at a time, and you take that off so you can work on higher priority things where you're actually working with humans because the AI is doing all that other stuff, that's what the goal is. But you have to do it right, because if you do it poorly, what you just described is what's going to end up happening. So I should amend that. The potential is there if done poorly. See, I just got to talk it out, and then I'll figure it out. So this is one thing I teach in my class. AI is not going to replace you, but somebody who knows how to use AI will. And it's just one of those things where, and again, I don't take pleasure in like being this messenger, because it's just like But this is the reality that I've kind of like come to over the past couple years. If you want to be ahead of the curve, and I saw this when I used to be a programmer, and people just became dinosaurs, and like they just stayed in one field and in one area, and they didn't evolve. And not that you can't master your craft, but sometimes you have to recognize that things are kind of fading out, and like jobs just disappear. Like my mom's first job was working in a typing pool, kind of like Mad Men style, in New York City. My dad's first job was setting up bowling pins. Now we all do our own typing. Now there's automation that does that. There's going to be so many jobs that are going to be created through this, and there's going to be jobs that are going to be taken away. What we need to think about is how do we position ourselves to get to the jobs that are going to be created. Holy crap, I got 15 minutes left?
Yeah. You got a late start.
Okay.
Keep going. 20 minutes.
I'm going to skip over what generative AI is and the limitations and capabilities, because that will take us down a whole rabbit hole. Yeah. I was going to show you some cool, because like some text to video and stuff. We were going to go into the importance of prompting, but we're not going to do any of that. Yeah.
It'll be in next Tuesday's newsletter under the tools and resources area.
Thank you.
Could I make a suggestion? Would you maybe do a one-off that's not part of this meeting that we could join you virtually?
Sure.
Like a Zoom or something.
Yeah, absolutely, of
We'll do a
course.
special satellite class.
Yeah, sure. I absolutely would love to. Okay, let's dive into some of the tools. How many people here, by show of hands, have used Perplexity? Oh, good. So what Perplexity is if you were to go and do research, you go to Google, you start searching, you go out to all the different websites, you find the information you need, and then you kind of bring it into a central source, and then you start to put together you compile and start to put together your notes or your report or your summary or whatever. Well, Perplexity kind of flips that on its head. It goes out and searches all of those and then pulls back and compiles the report for you like instantaneously. So let me pull over. Oh, it's over here. Why does it do that? Okay. All right, let's look at what does the New York Times grilling have going on over here? No, okay. Sorry, I'm going to.
You don't have enough tabs open, that's the problem.
Oh my gosh, before I closed like 15 tabs before I get over here. Okay. Okay, so I'm using Perplexity Pro, but you can use whatever. This is just the paid version. But oops, I hate when it does that. Okay, so I'm just going to run a couple just basic queries here. So the first one, I'll just put in there. Oh shoot, why is it doing that? Give me 1 second.
It wants to do that to you. The robot overlords are already beginning to take over.
Yep. It's not an image. It's just a. Okay, so I'm conducting a job search for a product manager role, and I'm looking for tips on how to improve my search. What suggestions do you have? Are there search tips or lesser-known websites I should check out? How might I get my resume in sooner when job posts first go up? So what it's going to do, and it's going to tell you what it's doing. It's searching for tips to improve the job search. It's telling you where it's reading. It's kind of talking you through the entire search. So instead of you having to go out and do that, it's going out and doing it all for you. And it's showing you all of the pages that it's pulling up, going to product plan, all of that. And then it's compiling it together. And now you've got your results. So it says, all right, here's some strategies. Apply early, act fast. Applying within the first 72 hours dramatically increases your chances. Now, if you want to say, all right, well, I don't buy that. I want to learn more. You can click into the source to learn more. Use niche or community-driven things, like Product Hired, Mind the Product, all of that. Well Found, Product Folks. And again, they put those in things. And again, it just goes on and on. The key thing here is everything is sourced. If you were to use this and put the same chat into ChatGPT, what do you think might happen?
You have to ask it expressly to show the sources.
Yeah, that would be a terrible idea. Like, so this is, again, knowing how to use AI. Like, to both of your points, like, I would not trust ChatGPT. Like, in fact, well, so let's talk about that. So if one of the things, even when using this, you will find you still have to go in. Don't just be like, oh, great, this I got everything I need. You still need to go in and double check and do due diligence. Because I do this and I have found it does a great job. I will say that, but it's not perfect. You will go in and you will see that it'll take things out and use it in the wrong context. Or it'll present things as if it's like in a broader context. Like I was, during the NCAA tournament, I was like, I was watching the women's tournament, and I was watching a lot more of the women's tournament than the men's, and I was watching the Texas game, and they were just bricking up everything. And I was like, what is going on here? Like, they can't hit any shots. And then I got thinking, I was like, I know that they shoot at a much higher percentage. And I was like, they have to shoot at least as well as the men do. And so I was searching on it in Perplexity, and they said, yep, they shoot basically the same from the field as the men, except the women shoot a little bit better from the free throw line. And then I was like, all right, that's what I expected. But I went in and I said, and I was like, but I want to see where they got that source. And then it turns out it was just for the Big 12. It wasn't for all of the NCAA. So again, you have to double check. So it is a great thing. It's getting better. I've definitely seen it improve. But again, this is where it's a great research tool, but you can't just believe it 100%. And I have a special slide on that. So let's go and look at another one real quick. So this one, so we'll do, so let's say, you're doing something more, you're preparing for, you're doing research for a specific article or something like that. And you're saying, I don't know why I came up with this, but how will Netflix battle against free streaming services like Roku? You know how there's all of these free services that are just ad supported or whatever? Has the rise of these services changed their strategy at all? Do these types of services pose a bigger threat in certain geographies than others? I mean, I have no idea. I don't even watch Netflix, but I was kind of curious, how are they going to do this? Why would someone pay however much you pay for Netflix? It comes back. So there's Roku, was it Pluto, Tubi, Crackle. They're called free ad-supported streaming services. There we go. FAST. Yeah, there's even an acronym. I am kind of curious about the geography. So what do they do? So they have their own ad-supported plans. They're phasing out cheaper. What are they doing? They're expanding ad-supported and then phasing out supported. I don't know. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. We don't have time.
Free plans. They're cheap plans that don't have ads.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I want to know about the geography. All right. So anyway, so that was another quick way. And again, you can see you've got all of these resources in here which you can go and do a deeper dive in. So you'll get the quick overview, and then you can continue your research by going in and doing that deeper dive. Yes?
Quick question, Sam. So as you see on the very top there, it says answer and then sources, and it shows what, 30?
Mm-hmm.
So is that the sources that you find off the internet, number one?
Mm-hmm.
But number two, are these, like, for example, this tool, is this predicated also around the number of users that access that tool? Because it's my understanding that, for example, ChatGPT, right? We're talking about probably millions of people that use that tool. So constant information is being input into the system, right? So it should be able to, I guess, refine some of those outputs
Mm-hmm.
that are happening. So is that the same case here in this particular tool?
Yeah, I mean, they're always trying to figure out, like, how do we improve the outcomes? How do we make sure? So whereas a search result will always go on, like, what are people clicking on? What do people like the most? They're really trying to get on the quality of the answer. And in terms of, I don't really know exactly how they're doing their sources, but if you were to say, I want you to lean heavily on white papers, academic papers, things like that, that can actually, you can get more. If you want those types of sources, you can ask for those types of sources more.
Would you define all these tools, regardless of what the tool is, still within the narrow AI perspective?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yes.
In these searches, is there any effect with the tweaking of what kind of engine it's using to search? The difference between, say, using Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo, and other search engines.
Mhm.
I've seen very different results.
Yes. So great question. So with this, now you can actually choose the model with Perplexity. So what it does, because I have the paid version, is it'll go and figure out, all right, well, what is the best for this one? What model is the best one? But you may say, like, hey, I really prefer Sonnet, or I want ChatGPT, like, well, I wouldn't use 4.1 for this, but maybe you want to use Gemini. Don't use Grok. Maybe you're going to use, something else. But yeah, you can actually choose the different models, and you will find. And again, you can use Grok if you want. For me, like an AI built on Twitter data just doesn't really seem like something that would makes much sense to me. Yeah. So, but I most definitely have preferences for different models depending on what I'm doing. Absolutely. Like even within ChatGPT, I ping between different models all the time.
I have a question.
Yes.
How do you prevent the echo? This is like something like, basically intelligence teams basically start feeding the information across a bunch of different sources to where it's true.
So I kind of skipped over that with the prompting section, because there we talked about the different techniques where you can start to make sure that you're looking at it from different angles, doing reflection prompts, and really making sure that you're using it as a thought partner to say, like, help me understand this, help me look at this, what am I missing here? So you kind of built in some risk mitigation so that you don't, because if you are just moving forward and not really kind of moving laterally, because really what you want to do anytime you're using AI is you want to go broad and then say, okay, now that I've looked at all the possibilities, now I'm going to zero in and say, all right, this is it. All right, now, so you want to look at the problem and say, okay, now wide, and then say, okay, this is exactly the problem. Now that I've looked at the whole thing, this is exactly the problem I want to solve. And then look at, all right, how are all the different ways that I might go about solving this? And then, but if you're just going straight, you're going to miss all the other possibilities. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one, which is ChatGPT. And so for this, how many people here have used Canvas? So some people. All right, let me just kind of show you a very quick example of Canvas. So what Canvas is, think of it as a word. It's almost like you're building. It's a collaborative for writing and also code. So for here, I don't know why. I was sitting around this morning with my dogs, and I was just like, all right, what would Boomer and Scout talk about? So, like, they're talking about lamenting the lack of walks on rainy days, then transition to a conversation about how they aren't looking forward to the summer, to the hot days. And I couldn't think of the word dread. And I was like, honey, what's that word when you're not looking forward to something because it really sucks? And we couldn't think of the word dread. So I don't know why. This is like when you get in your mid-50s, everything just. So, okay. So what this does is it's pulling up a screenplay. And it's just kind of going through and talking about, them going. Now, I use this a lot because I also use folders. And like for projects, where I'm doing a deep dive, where I'm building out a class. And when I want to keep going back to something, I use Canvas a lot when I'm building out activities. I'll go in and I'll say something like,
I found this is a useful tool as a writer. It's gotten me out of a writer's block with a fun project I've been stuck on for months.
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea of the blank page problem, you always have, you can always get traction with ChatGPT, and especially using Canvas. So you can just kind of put in something, and what it's doing is like, all right, now we're going to go and we're going to create a whole new iteration of this. Now, I can also go in here and edit it directly and do things like that. I can also go in and say, wow, oh, geez, Oliver, that's a little, after it gets done writing, I may say heat stroke is a little, I don't know, grim. Maybe I'll say and I'll just change that to be, panting a lot or something like that. So you can edit directly in here. So it's just something to kind of and play around with. It's very helpful, yes.
I like to make one note of this as a writer. You get a version that there's one detail about it, some things about it you really like, but you need to reiterate. You may want to specifically request it to do a brand new canvas with a different version because there is a danger of it overriding and losing what you want.
Yes. So you noticed, so what it did is it completely overrode it. So if you just wanted to output something on the side, say, don't put this in there, just put it on the side. Or you just say, you know what, I just want to overwrite this, and then say, make this longer and, I don't know, darker. Of soul sucking that could wilt the plants. So there we go. I don't know why I like the dark dogs. Okay, anyway. So that's Canvas. There's a lot of potential. It could be a big productivity hack and allow you to move really quickly. Now, another thing that you can use for free in ChatGPT in addition to Canvas is something called, you can use deep research, but you can also use scheduled tasks. Where are scheduled tasks? Oh, did they get rid of them? Oh, maybe they got rid of scheduled tasks. Anyway, so what I did is I have an example where I do deep research of a SWOT analysis. And I assume, like, I have to go out and do an analysis of Southwest Airlines and their programs. Because I'm a senior product manager at Delta and I oversee the Skyline miles. And what it does is it sends me that SWOT analysis every Monday. It says, pull back all of the news for the week. Let me know, how does this impact me? What is, give me an updated SWOT analysis based upon that. So it's really, really helpful. It's really interesting. See, this is the type of thing, like they just put out 4.1. This one yesterday, and I don't know what happened to, maybe they got rid of it. Anyway, so you find things out when in the middle of presentations.
What's good for summarizing like meeting notes to show on, like, let's say you have
I, for that, would use what I should have just talked about. So thank you, Woody, for bringing that up. I would probably go into Explore GPTs and just say, maybe a transcript summary, something like that, and it'll pull up some sort of summary or transcriber. So one of the things, anytime you're doing something, you're like, oh, I need ChatGPT to help me with this, start by looking in the GPTs. Because you could probably do it just by creating your own series of prompts, but there's probably a GPT that's specifically designed to do it for you. So what a GPT is, it is think of it as a specialized version of ChatGPT that hones in on a specific task. So in Woody's example, hey, I need to take this video and translate it. So, or something like that. So I've got this video here, which is my 17-minute AI workflow to stand out at work. So I was watching that, and what if I just take this, and I start the chat, and I just drop this in here, and then see what happens. So I'd have to go and sign in, and it would do all that for me. But definitely, if you aren't using GPTs, definitely check them out. They're super helpful.
So that way try to transcribe your YouTube?
Yep. So I just built an agent that built like my brand voice, like how if I was to respond to an email, I wanted to respond in my authentic voice and not sound like AI. So I went and I took 8 YouTube videos of where I was presenting, and I had it take all the transcripts, go through, analyze my speaking style, my words, a lot of the things that I typically will say when I'm speaking and things like that. And so it just transcribed everything, and I used that to build out my brand analysis AI agent. Okay, the only thing I'm going to give you a demo of this. Just with Google Gemini, their deep research is free, so use it. Other ones, like, you're limited. So with Google Gemini, it's free. So let Google, if they want to like burn up money by you doing lots of expensive searches, go for it. Now, has anyone done deep research? So essentially, what deep research is it's like it'll go and you can do it on any topic, and it's basically like it's doing like a term paper for you. It'll go and it may take 5, 10, 15 minutes to run. But you can be very detailed and give it like, an entire page worth of, say, this is how detailed I want you to get. This is exactly what I'm looking to do. And then have it do deep research, and it'll pull all of that back. And it may be a 15, 20-page PDF. Yes?
I suspect the reason it's free is because it's learning what people want to get deep on.
Oh, we're all guinea pigs, 100%. Like, unless you're using enterprise version of this, and even then, it's still learning. It's just not sharing the data in the underlying corpus. Yep.
Be very careful what data you share with these things. Yes. You are
Yep.
training it. You're giving it data. If you send any private data, it can connect it to your IP address. It can find who you are. It can de-identify you. These things have cautions that come with them.
So, yes. Yes.
I would use it for Excel functions. If I didn't know a function, for example, I could go to ChatGPT, ask it, and it would basically help me with that analysis. Now, another one thing that I wanted to ask, because you're going over all of them, and you're saying like one of them is typically better for this, one of them is typically better for this.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to build the different AIs into one specific like area to where you can kind of just like click through each one, or is it just kind of like you have to go wherever something is?
There's probably something that does that. I feel like there is something out there. I just don't remember what it is. I just been doing this for so long. I'm like, oh, I got to go do this. Let me go to Claude. Or I got to go do this. Let me use this ChatGPT model. Or so, yeah, that's a good question. But I can't think of something off the top of my head. Yeah, maybe someone else knows.
Well, I don't know if I know, but I did basic training on Scrum Alliance,
Mm.
and they have an AI module. And actually, as you're going through it, they do have like a little list at the end of like maybe 10, maybe of these different things that I never even heard of. So I'm just starting digging into them.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and some of them, it is, you'll get, it's like asking people, like, what's your favorite sneaker? Like, they're going to be like, hey, listen, if you're going to go out and play hoops, you're going to want, like, to play in Nike. And other people are like, no, you're really going to want to use New Balance. I don't know. So people are going to have their own personal preference as well. But you're going to add something, Woody?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say Poe. I think Poe.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
I understand it's $20 a month to get access to all kinds of different AIs, but you don't get like full functionality.
Yeah. Anyone here use Notebook LM? So what this does is it allows you, it's really great if you're doing research and you want to kind of bring a bunch of information together. So this is one that I did at the beginning of the year. I was really diving in, trying to get better at agents. So I pulled in all of the different things that I was learning about agents, the different videos I was watching, articles I was reading, papers, PDFs, all of that. And so what it does is it takes that and it almost acts like an LLM. So now it's got what it does is it pulls it, and now I can go in here and say, what's the difference between an agent and a bot? And it'll go through, it's going to take all the information I gave it and then present me an answer on that. Some of the other things it does is if you want to say, all right, I don't have time to read all of this, but you can actually use a discovery feature to describe what you want to learn about, and it'll go and find great sources and kind of bring them in. Then you can go and just create a podcast. So for this one, here, this is what it sounds like when you create a podcast based on this.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're going to be taking a deep dive today.
I don't know if you can hear that.
To the world of AI agents.
Oh yeah, this is a hot topic.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. We've got some really interesting articles and research papers.
So this is actually really helpful for, some people are hanging their heads, but when people don't want to have to read another PDF, to read another email, people are using like, hey, this is the latest on our project. Here's a 15-minute PDF that you can listen to on your way home to get caught up to date on everything that we're doing. Yes?
Is this different from Gemini or Recorded Gemini?
Different. Yep. So this is actually really helpful because people learn in different styles. People have different communication preferences. People want to be able to just like, if you want to know everything about your project, instead of them coming directly to you and saying like, hey, Shannon, what's going on with this? What's going on with this? What's going on with this? If you put it all in this, be like, just, go ahead. You can just go and ask the notebook. If all the answers are in here, they can just go and ask that. Or you can just give them a weekly update through this. Or you can give them a briefing document, an FAQ. You can build out your timeline. This is all done but with a click of a button. I could also, say, create a quiz on, AI agents to help me learn. Or Quicks, one of those.
As far as you know, the podcast is the only output that it does, right?
The
It's only audio output that
yeah.
I was hoping it could just do
So again, like then it'd be like, all right, so great. If you want to, again, you think about whatever industry, whatever area you're in, you can use this in a really powerful way to not only study and learn yourself, to better communicate, to just bring in ideas. The possibilities are really endless. So I was able to ramp up really quickly. I know a lot of people in companies that are using this as a better way to manage stakeholders, to be more transparent about what they're working on, and to better suit different communication styles. So I would encourage you, one of your tasks over the next 30 days is actually to create an agent. So you'll go in and you're going to discover things. You're going to describe something that you want to learn about. And you can be as detailed as you want. And it'll go and it'll add 10 sources. Then you can go and, if you want, you can add 10 more and add 10 more. It'll add 10 at a time. Or you can just kind of add whatever ones you're specifically looking for. Okay, so we're on to agents. What was that about?
3 hours already.
So you've been here? Okay. Yeah. Why don't we go ahead and this is part of the, so all I'm going to say is the agents and gems, which is a Google Gemini version of this. GPTs and gems, which is ChatGPT and gems, same things. They just generate text for you. A bot is going to respond to you. But what an agent does is it's going to go out and act. So that agent, it has agency to act autonomously. That's the difference between it. And so what you're going to end up doing, and I'm just, so I'm going to actually put into the 30-day playbook specific instructions on how to create a template or create an agent from a template. What it's going to do, it'll be very simple. What it's going to do is it's going to go out, it's going to look at your calendar, and it is going to pull up any meetings you have with someone who is outside, with an outside email address. And you can just put some fake ones up there. It's going to go out and research and say, all right, let me pull all the information that you need to know about that person. And you could say, and you could specialize it to say, like, I am this type of person. I work in this type of industry. Help me find anything about that person, their job, the news of their company that relates to this particular area. And it's going to go out and it's going to email you, Slack you, give you however you want, and a message the day before saying, hey, tomorrow you're meeting with this person, here's their information. And so that's going to be your very first agent based on a template. Then the second one, you'll go and you'll create a template or an agent based on your own workflow. And you'll kind of connect it to your calendar, your email. You'll have a variety of different choices, but you'll have a chance to do that. So one last thing, the AI that you're using today is the least capable AI that you're ever going to use. As I mentioned, they're pretty remarkable. They did some cool stuff today, but they still mess up a lot. But they're only getting better. It isn't like, we're like, oh, well, they peaked. It isn't like disco. It's not going to go away. They're here. It's here to stay. All right, so this is your 30-day playbook. And this is let me pull it over so what it looks like. So I broke it up into 4 different weeks. So you have personal productivity and cognitive clarity. So you can see different tasks that I've done to figure out, all right, how can I get better and use AI just to work faster in these different areas? You have very specific prompts and examples. And over here is where you're going to create a separate, so you're going to have a portfolio, AI portfolio. And it can be a Google Doc, it can be a Word doc, it can be a Google folder, whatever you want. And so you're going to just kind of show your results of what you've done. So you're going to have all of this massive examples of all of these different things that you've done using AI. So this is going to include some of the tools we looked at here. You're going to use things like Copilot, which we didn't look at. You're going to use things like Gamma, which creates presentations on the fly. There's a few others in there, like I mentioned, agents. And then by the end of the month, you're going to have an entire portfolio of concrete examples of how you use AI to be more effective, efficient, creative, and strategic. And then you're going to send it to me, or I will hunt you down. OK, but let me go back and just show you. So week 1, personal productivity and cognitive clarity. Week 2, planning and project management. Week 3, clear and persuasive communication. Week 4, AI as a thought partner. And maybe, I don't know if I actually ended up putting voice in there or not. No, I don't think I did. And then I still need to put in the agents because I got tired last night. Yes?
So I understand your actual presentation will get published on the website, and then this file, which looks like a spreadsheet, that will get published as well, that we can actually use it. Is that correct?
So it's actually linked in the presentation.
Oh, it's linked in the presentation.
Yep.
Okay.
When you say voice, are you talking about the actual speech?
Yes. Yep. Using voice. Now that I looked at it, I think I started that and didn't. Again, it was late. I usually go to bed at 9:30. Yes.
So I'm thinking, because of just the way I think, that AI can theoretically potentially be used to actually undermine AI and find ways of having actual real human interaction, connection stuff rather than. Does that question make sense?
No.
Okay. I haven't fully altered, but what I'm seeing is using AI to undercut AI's robot overlord status and having the human piece of it
Yeah.
take precedence.
Yes.
Using AI to have human precedence.
Yes. And that's the whole point. You really want it to be that teammate. But again, you're still in charge. It's only so powerful without your expertise, without you as without you as the companion, it's really not that powerful. If we kind of bring your expertise, your incredible knowledge with everything, that's when the magic really happens, and that's the value that you want to bring to potential employers.
Okay, so Dan, slides, and then a link, obviously, to this, the plan.
Yep.
And then what we'll do is we'll set up a special satellite class so we can go further into agents versus, et cetera.
Yep.